What is up, fellas? Welcome to another guide. This time, of course, we are going to be going over how to play Carthage. Carthage is definitely a very interesting faction. They lack in missile attack, but they make up for it with things like elephants. So, of course, I already did a campaign on this faction, so definitely check it out if you haven't already. But something I do want to mention here is we are going to go over this guide as if we are playing on very hard difficulty. It's an expert guide, folks, so I'm going to be making a lot of my decisions based off of the fact that, hey, like, in battle difficulty, this unit is kind of worthless, whereas it might be a bit more valuable in like medium or easy difficulty, right, or even hard. But you can make generalizations if you do want to still play in medium or hard, you know, when it comes to like the campaign overview and what you want to try to be doing with your armies. But of course, if you've seen one of my guides before, this is what we're going to be doing, right? You know that we're going to be going over starting positions. We're going to move your armies in the first turn, right? Then go over early game, mid game, and late game conquest, what you should be doing with your armies. We're going to go over the construction buildings with this faction as well as the unit roster. And then we're going to look at like an early game army, a late game army, and then we're going to fast forward to the future and look into what Carthage, you know, what pace you might want to shoot for, you know, 20 or so years down the line. So yeah, that's what I got for you, and let's get right into this guide here. Alright, first thing you'll notice when you load in here is that this is a pretty strong starting position. You got 4 settlements over here near kind of like North Africa, Sicily, then you got Palma, and then you got Corduba. So kind of have 2 different pockets here, with Corduba doing its own thing in Spain, and then these kind of armies as well as Palma will kind of go east. But in terms of its strength with the starting position, it's one of the best in the game. Like, you want to have Carthage, you know, have access to Italy pretty early on, and that's exactly what Carthage does, right? I would say the only other factions that might have like a better starting position, of course, are the Romans, right? Then like the Greek cities in Macedon, right? Basically, if you haven't deducted yet, Greece, Italy, Asia Minor have like the richest lands, right? So you want to get those lands to make sure that your economy is going to be good in the early game. And as Carthage, we can take out Italy pretty damn quickly and get to Greece very quickly as a result of that, right? So in terms of starting settlements here, what we're really going to be doing is just adjusting everything to low and building a road, right? It's 1 turn, right? It's 400 gold, but with this one, actually, you want to make sure that you build the road first because he has the lively trait, right? 5% discount. It's not much, but you know, it's something we want to min-max, so make sure you do that. And then same here. You don't need to focus on high tax rates because our economy is going to be doing just okay, right? Just focus on population growth. Same here as well. And let's go over starting armies first here. What to do with your starting armies in terms of movement. So we want to disband skirmishers in Corduba, useless unit. Get to it in just a sec. And then we're just going to move up. We're going to bring this guy up. We're going to get some trade deals with Spain and then declare war on them. And we're just going to go for Scalabus first. We're going to go up here, take this place, get Numantia, and then just get these 2 settlements, right? Pretty straightforward there. That's the goal of this army. Okay? Something you might want to do as well is make this guy the faction heir, okay? Because this guy's alone in Spain, right? You want him to get the faction heir trait so he can essentially have more general bodyguards to help out in his battles, okay? So that's that. We're going to take one of these boats and we're going to go up to Palma to pick this fucker up because he is literally just stranded right now. Also going to disband this militia unit because it is awful. Militia, excuse me. And then this guy's going to come get picked up and go east, right?
Aye, great lord.
This is also getting disbanded. Town militia, a useless unit. Dapsis, disband, and also this Arbor Infantry. It's going to be too late to the fight, and it doesn't have good movement. What we're going to do here
Ready to sail.
is you going to hop in this boat.
Forward.
You are going to come over here.
Forward.
You're going to get picked up by this boat.
Ships ready. Aye, my lord.
You are getting disbanded. You are getting disbanded. You are getting disbanded.
Ships
You folks,
ready. Aye, my
hop
lord.
in here.
Sire, move out.
You
Aye, my
are going
lord.
to hop in here.
Sire, joining the fleet, sire.
Then we're going to spy on the Greek cities.
None shall see me.
Gonna go over here. And you might have seen my first
Ships
episode.
ready. Set sail.
Yeah,
Sire.
but we do this.
My
And, I mean, we didn't get it this time, but, like, it's a 48% chance for you to get
besieging settlement
Syracuse in the first turn.
Settlement
So,
under siege,
if you're
sir.
curious about how to do that battle, just take a look at my
Ready to sail.
first episode video, and you can
Prepare for battle.
take Syracuse in the first turn.
Settlement
It's kind of
under siege, sir.
overpowered.
Ready to sail.
And then what's really cool about this is you get Syracuse, right? You can move this
Ships
boat
ready.
right here, and then you can get Masan in the second turn. So you literally have all of Sicily in 270 BC in the winter, which is pretty crazy. And also very good. And then you can literally get Curton and whatever the fuck that up, Tarentum pretty quickly as well. So yeah, pretty overpowered. This is what you want to do with your armies. You can just bring the diplomat to go meet Numidia, get some money off of them. But yeah, and then this guy, of course,
Aye,
is going to get
great
picked
lord.
up, and you're going to go east. You can actually, what's crazy about
Ships
this,
ready.
next turn, this
Sire.
cav
Aye, great lord.
army in this boat will be able to help out with Masana. It has enough movement. Crazy. But this is first turn army, and what you want to be doing from here on out, once you take Masana, once you take Syracuse, right, you're going to basically just get your boats, come over here, take out the Brudii, Croton and Tarentum, easy, and then just continue to recruit cavalry, go west, get Rome, get Italy, right? And have like an army over here, continue to go east and towards Greece, because something that people do in this campaign is focus on the wrong things, right? I'd be thinking, oh yeah, Numidia's gonna attack us. Fine, who the fuck cares? Just defend and don't even worry about it. This is just, they don't have good cities, right? They don't. They have like 3 cities over here, and they're all pretty poor. Neptes all the way down here that they'll probably take. It's stupid to get. Lepsis Magna, I mean, maybe you can take that eventually, but it's, again, not something you need to focus on. It's not a rich settlement, right? We need to focus on things that will get us a shit ton of money, and also killing Greece and Macedon early, the better, right? We don't want to be dealing with armored hoplite units and, you know, phalanx pikemen, right? It's not fun to do, regardless of what faction you are, regardless of what unit roster you have, because those units are insane and very hard to kill. So yeah, that's what you should be doing. Don't focus on Numidia. Of course, this guy is already in Spain, so might as well just take out Spain, right? They can have pretty rich settlements with, you know, mines and stuff. So again, I think that's worth it. And also, you know, once you get Martius, you know, and Oscar here, you can kind of start fighting the Gaul a bit very cautiously. But yeah, pretty straightforward in terms of what Carthage needs to be doing in the early game, right? Get Italy, kill Rome, kill Spain, and then just like continue going east. Numidia is not something you need to go for, right? But yeah, let's get into their buildings here. I'm gonna take a look at Carthage here just to show everything. I'm gonna go down first to the temples and shrines of Carthage. You have Tenet, which is not good. It's just improved farms and production, which gets you some gold and shit, but not good because it doesn't really get you much happiness or order. Then we got Ball, which is basically going to be the one you're gonna always build. It just provides happiness and law. It's just good to build in all of the cities that you take, right? And also the ones that you have already to start off with, because you do have this. We'll get to this in a bit. This is an interesting talking point. And then we have Mill Court, which is just your increase in tradable goods, which I think is very, very overrated. It doesn't really do much and not worth it at all. So, get your happiness, get your law with ball. It's the one to go to. We have a tier 3 Colosseum, if you will, right? But this is, of course, the Carthage kind of culture of it, right? They just, instead of throwing games, they like to execute people instead. So, you know, that's a thing. So, that's good. Same as always, really. They have academies in the Ludus Magna, which is awesome, but not really needed. They have paved roads, thank God. They don't have highways, only Rome has highways, but you do have paved roads and the ability to build these, which is pretty important, I think. Paved roads are very good. Then we have your farms. Again, they can be useful in the early game and for like population growth, but you know, over a long period of time, scaling isn't very good with farms. I think you'd much rather want to build something like a port or a market to increase trade versus just farms. Farms is like a set base amount of like income you'll get, whereas things like ports, you know, they can stack with markets, right? And I'd rather build things like sewers versus farms because they also provide not only population growth, but a public order growth, or bonus rather. So definitely focus on things like sewers before farms, I think. And of course, amazingly, Carthage gets dockyards, right? This building is crazy for your economy, right? We always want to try to focus on getting a port pretty early on, right? You want to get a trader first, right? That's to say you have some sort of trade to begin with, but yeah, ports are crazy with their income. Sometimes ports might even be worth it to build before a trader, right? Just depends on what income you're getting. And you can actually do that by just like, so for example, if you look at this element in particular, right? You go to your trade, right? And you click on this and you see how much trade you'll be getting. Look at that. It's insane. It's over 200 gold that you're getting from a port, right? Roads is just good for movement, right? This is why you should build roads. It does increase tradable goods, right? But it's just for the movement is really solid and so cheap at one turn. You want to build this first, and then you can, you know, build your port. Yeah, if you like look at like versus a market, it doesn't do anything, right? Because you don't have any roads. It's just completely useless, right? So you need the port to really justify the market to begin with, right? And then the ship rates, I mean, you just double that. And then the dockyard, you're getting 3 different trade routes. It's crazy. It's a lot of gold. And you got your blacksmiths. You do have the foundry, which is great. Awesome. Again, it's only a huge city, though, so probably not really going to be too relevant. And then you got your traders all the way up to a merchant's quarter. Awesome. Again, Carthage is not slacking in its culture, right? You're seeing now, like, it has the ability to build a siege engineer, a royal capsule, an epic stone wall. So it can build a lot with the huge city, right? Like, you can even build a great estate. Like, it's basically the only thing that it doesn't have the ability to do that the Romans do is highways, right? Aqueducts, and a, like, royal barracks, right? That's basically it. Everything else, and in the pantheons, right? Everything else is pretty much able to get built by Carthage, which is pretty impressive. Now, let's get in. Alright, I'll go over the walls first. Don't build walls, guys, unless it's a palisade. You don't need to build walls. Please don't build walls. I swear to fucking God. They are so useless. Okay? We want to be on the attack, we want to be aggressive. Number one mistake people make when playing this game is they are too defensive and they just build walls to try to hide. That does a number of things. First, when an army besieges your city, right, it now negates your ability to build anything or recruit anything, right? So you're just losing turns by letting them besiege you and letting them build their bullshit to attack you, which, you know, you might win, right? Great. But now you just lost 4 turns of production and recruitment, all right? Stupid. You want to just make sure that you have armies near those, you know, settlements that can get attacked. And you just, once they besiege you, you just attack them, So walls are irrelevant, right? You want to kill them as soon as possible. You want to be aggressive. You want to be on the attack anyway. So walls, not something you should really ever build. Only reason you should build walls is to get a palisade so they can't attack the same turn that they besiege it. That's it. So you have a chance to react to what they're doing, right? Only reason to build a wall. But let's get into their unit roster. This is one of the most interesting unit rosters I think in the game, just because of the fact that they don't have a good missile unit, right? Just not solid. Practice range against skirmisher swordbird. In an archery range, you would think, oh yeah, I can get archers, right? Nope, you get slingers. A 4 missile attack unit. It's so bad. And then their melee's 3. The total defense, it's just awful. It's worse than a skirmisher. It just has more range. But even the range difference isn't that good. Like, if I see you building slingers in your campaigns, just commit seppuku, please. It's just not a good unit, guys. Do not build these in any of your single player campaigns. Okay. Catapults, you get onagers. Siege engineer, heavy onagers. Again, not a good unit to build. It's a 2-turn build first off, so it's really slowing down your pace. Second thing is its movement points also suck. It's going to have really slow movement points, even slower than infantry. You're not going to be able to travel anywhere with these things in your armies. So don't even build them. They're not even worth it to get in terms of what their use is. It's just, yeah, you get missile attack and maybe you get a standard general, or you get to, put down a wall, but you just build siege towers. It's not a difficult, or just get spies. It's not hard to do other countermeasures against onagers. It's you have to get a catapult range first off, which is a 6-turn build, a shit ton of gold. Onagers are a 2-turn build. Suck up moving. Don't build this unit. Just build spies and siege towers. But then we get into, I'm going to go with their infantry first. Barracks, town militia, Green 7. Horrible, poor morale. Don't build this unit ever. In fact, disband them, just like we just did in your starting armies, because something to note as well, they are 100 upkeep. Not worth it. And I think probably the most overrated unit, no, it's not the most overrated unit, but people overuse this unit and recruit it. Don't recruit this unit, especially in very hard difficulty. This infantry unit is actually awful. Doesn't even have good morale. Doesn't have poor morale, but that doesn't make it good, right? It's going to rout instantly. It has a 7 and 8 stat. That's horrible. It's going to get murdered by literally anything that it touches. Okay? Won't let these guys fight anything unless you absolutely necessarily have to, right? Really, the only Iron Infantry you're going to be using this whole campaign is these guys, right? And these guys.
Orders.
Other than that, you're not recruiting your Iron Infantry at all. Okay? Don't use this unit. It is awful and very hard difficulty. Okay. City Barracks is where you can consider recruiting Libyan Spearmen. I wouldn't recommend it, but I would understand if you needed some frontline infantry for whatever reason in your army. I'm not sure why you would, because you're going to be focusing on cav and elephants anyway. But one use that this might have is in sieges. This will be pretty good at trying to kill generals. But again, its attack isn't very good. It gets a +8 attack when fighting cav, which is very good, right? Which makes it useful there when killing generals, but that's really about it. Other than that, not a good frontline infantry unit. It's basically going to have no defense. It's going to, so you get -4 defense when fighting infantry with spearmen, so this is a 5 and 12, right? And plus, on top of that, you're in very difficulty, they get +8 to attack. The opponents do, right, with the AI, so. Again, this is the first unit with Carthage you can justify building, but wouldn't recommend it. I would wait and try to get an army barracks pretty quickly, because then you have these guys, 20 infantries. This is a strong unit. This is what you want to shoot for to have a good front line as Carthage, right? Good stamina, good morale, And the most important thing here, can form a phalanx. Because it has a phalanx, it automatically makes it one of the best units in the game. Right? It's a phalanx. Like, I don't care what tier this is, if you can form a phalanx, you're immediately going to be a top tier unit. A great case of that is Germania, right? Spear Warband is just a crazy good unit. It's so cost effective. Same thing here for Pointy Infantry. It sucks that it's a tier 4 unit and you have to build army barracks, but once you get it, you are golden, okay? And they synergize really well with, having Cav, right? Because you just put these guys forward to kill the infantry, you get the Cav behind them, and you just flank them, and it's just GG's, right? And it's 918, really strong unit. Now, some of you guys might be waiting for me to bring up this unit, and I will go over it. And you have to ask yourself, oh, but Johnny, what about the Sacred Band from the awesome Temple of Ball? This is the most overrated unit in the game. For a number of reasons. People love this unit, and yeah, sure, it's fine in multiplayer. That's totally different, right? But in single player, it's a 2-turn build, first off, which really slows down its pace. Yes, it's 12 and 23, but it's only 3 attack better and 5 defense better than the Pointy Infantry for a full another turn. Right? You got to ask yourself, first off, would you rather have 1 Sacred Band or 2 Pointy Infantries? Right? I know what my answer is, and if you're smart, you'll follow my lead here, take the 2 Pointy Infantry. Right? The second thing to note here is you need an awesome Temple of Ball. Right? You're not going to take a settlement in Egypt, right? Like Alexandria, and then have an awesome Temple of Ball. You have to build it from scratch, right? And kill their temple. And to do that, will take about like 10 turns, like with the mausoleum, right? Of Hyrcanus. Like, it is so tough to get these guys retrained. You are not going to retrain them ever once they move out of their starting settlement. You just aren't, right? You're not going to be in a settlement that you capture for 10 turns. You're going to be moving on to the next settlement in like a turn, or the same turn, or like 2 turns, right? Like, you're never going to be in a situation where you're ever going to be able to retrain these guys in foreign lands, which makes them a bad unit. It takes a 2-turn build. Yes, they're really strong, but you can't retrain them anywhere, which means you have to be really conservative and careful about how to use them in battles. But that kind of defeats the whole fucking purpose of Sacred Band, is they're supposed to be a unit that you can use for like anything, which you can, but then you're going to get casualties and you have to retrain them, and you can't. Hence the problem with Sacred Band. Don't recruit this unit anywhere. Just get your Pointy Infantries and have a fun time, right? If you want to dick around it with Sacred Band, hey, do your fucking thing. I don't give a shit. This is a video on how to get better at Rome Total War single player and have a faster game, right? Alright. Now I'm going to move on to their cavalry and their elephants, because they have the ability, of course, to build elephants and cav stables. Now, it starts off with just the stables around Shield Cav. Fine, you're going to be recruiting that in Carthage to start off. But in Carthage, of course, and in Thapsus, you have these little elephant icons. Very nice. You have the ability to recruit elephants in Carthage and Thapsus to start off. And I think also someone's like, yeah, like Tingai, and there's some over here in the east as well. Maybe Lepsis Magna too. I don't know. No, it doesn't look like it. Camels. Lepsis Magna. Interesting. But yeah. Cool. Elephants are a 2-turn build. If you know anything about voodoo magic, what you can do essentially when you have elephants, right? You have 24 of them. Say you're in a field battle, you can just have your general kind of lag behind them a bit, give them like a morale boost. But yeah, they are good morale. You can just go ahead and just charge into the enemy right off the bat. Let them, run amok, get fucked up. And if they all die, right, make sure that you get some casualties yourself, right? Because what happens is after the battle is over, you get heals. And they heal whoever dies first, right? So make sure a couple things, right? That the elephants die first, right? And they don't have any other, like, say you have like a missile attack that got fucked and your Iron infantry got hit or something, don't waste your elephants now in that battle, because your elephants need to die first to get the voodoo magic off, right? And make sure as well, you know, once you do kill the elephants, that you get more casualties in your army. Because this has happened to me before, where I killed my elephants, right? And I just wiped the floor with the enemy army. And I didn't really get many casualties. So as a result of that, only a certain percentage of your casualties actually get healed. So you don't have enough casualties, they don't come back, right? So you kind of have to play it a bit and kind of like purposely lose a couple of units here and there to make sure that these elephants do come back and get that voodoo magic. But I mean, this is a crazy unit. I mean, 10 hit points. Has a special attack, right? You just kind of click around. It is a general killer, right? You just kill generals with this, in the start of the battle. It's crazy. And also, as an added bonus, they can just like ram wooden palisades and wooden walls. So if they don't have a stone wall, you're guaranteed attack on the same turn, which is crazy. Like, you don't even need spies for that. Like, it's literally acting as a spy for those types of settlements. That's 100% guaranteed to work every single time. What more could you ask for in this unit? It's crazy good. I would recommend, once you get roads here in Carthage for your movement into ports and ship and trade, just go for the cav stables right off the bat, right? I think roads, cav stables, and then shipwrights is kind of what you should be shooting for in Carthage. Shipwright's going to be crazy with its income, right? And you can probably see this. Yeah, it's over 100, 130. You know, stack that with things like a road and, you know, bazaars, right? And it's going to be looking really, 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 really good. In terms of Thapsus, I'd get the port up, and then I'd start focusing on things like militia barracks, city barracks. It doesn't really have a lot of population. It's going to be a late recruitment center because it needs to get to a city first. But you can maybe think about, you know, enslaving and keeping a general here in Thapsus, because it does have the ability to recruit elephants, which can be very useful. Right? Use it as like secondary recruitment center to Carthage. Okay? Yeah, Carthage is getting elephants. Thapsus can get like 20 infantry, or the other way around. 20 infantry in Carthage. Thapsus can build elephants, right? So figure out what you want to do there. Really isn't a wrong answer. Yeah. So that's the cav stables here. Elite cav stables. You have war elephants. Very good unit, of course. You know, same 2-turn build as elephants. So, of course, this is going to be a high priority, you know, at some point as well when you get a large city, is to get elite cav stables, because it's just an upgrade. It's just an upgrade. Right? You have elephants, then you have war elephants. They're just a better unit. Because it also has missile attack too, right? Not only does it have like better base stats, right? It has 1 more attack, 4 more defense, right? A lot of armor. But it has basically an archer attack, which is literally the only archer in the game, which is quite funny, I mean, for Carthage. But yeah, and then lastly, Royal Cav Stables. A couple things here: the Sacred Band Cavalry, 2-turn build, not really worth it. Rather just get Long Shield Cav. It has 3 more attack, 5 more defense. Not really worth it. Only has good morale. Just Long Shield Cav have that as well, right? But you do have the Armored Elephants, which is just a flex. You know, it's a good unit. It's a very good unit, and it's cool if you have it. But this is not something that you're really getting. Like, it's just tough to have a campaign that's so slow that you need the Royal Cav Stables and Armored Elephants. Like, you're gonna be conquering the world pretty quick with Carthage just because you have good pace, right? Get Italy very quick. Okay. And that's their unit roster. Something to note about their starting position as well is they do have some mercenaries to help you out with their missile attack, right? This is actually a really good slinger unit. I know I said before slingers suck, right? But that's the ones that you can recruit from. Think of this, right? 11 missile attack versus 4 missile attack. That's a big goddamn difference. You want to keep these slingers in your army. You can't retrain them, of course, because they're mercenaries, but keep them in your army. They're going to be very useful as your missile attack. And these guys want to keep them as well. They're going to help out a lot here when they come over to the east and help out with Rome. Okay. Oh, and the other forgot to mention, Maybe I forgot this, but yeah, build a road here. In terms of recruitment, though, what you want to be doing here, just build a peasant here, just placeholder, and then start spamming round shield calves out of Carthage. It's going to be useful against Rome, of course. Palma doesn't recruit anything because it already is going to be kind of chilling with these units. Once they get picked up, of course, and then you build the peasant. You want to try to min-max that population, of course. With Corduba, you just want to build a peasant as well. So those are your recruitment orders there in terms of that first turn, how it looks. Careless, I forgot. You want to disband that town militia, keep everything as is there. You already have a peasant, so wonderful. Okay. Yeah. That's for starting armies and construction and unit roster there. So what I'm going to do now here is just go over an early game army comp with Carthage, and then a late game one, and then we'll go into the future and look at my campaign pacing, like, 15, 20 years down the line. Alrighty, folks, this is what a early game army might look like here. This is kind of when you're taking over Italy and Sicily as well. You have your general bodyguards, right? You have that unit of elephants that you start off with. And then you just want to be building round shield cav as you kind of take over certain settlements, right? You're going to have that immediate mercenaries as well. This is a good unit that you want to utilize. As well as you have your slingers, right? This is going to be the starting unit that you have over Palma, and also you have one in Sicily to start off. This is going to be massive that you protect these at all costs. This is your missile attack, right? And then you might have your armored infantry that you still started off with as well. You might want to disband it at some point to really just hold the line from the slingers, right? Kind of use these guys as protection of that unit. That's really about it. But yeah, I mean, it's the same shit as always that I preach, with the exception of the voodoo elephants now. So to start off the battle, you're going to want to just put these guys right next to the general so they have some morale boost, right? But you're just going to charge into infantry, right? You don't want to do it right off the bat because they're going to get overwhelmed by the numbers and then they're going to rout right away. So it's a bit tricky to pull off. But once you do it over and over again, you'll get more used to it. We're just killing the Scipii here to start off. That's a good dummy army. But, once they get closer and closer, or if you're attacking, you would just kind of move your army closer and closer, and then you just bring on the elephants with your general and get that morale boost. You might even be worth it in this case to maybe bring them over to the east side, because they're kind of split up right now, right? So a lot of different things you can do. Just make sure you don't get overwhelmed by the numbers and have them rout, right? That's the number one thing you need to pay attention to when doing voodoo elephants. It's a bit tricky to manage that, right? But yeah, that's an early game army. And here is a late game army that you want to be shooting for with this Carthaginian unit roster. And it's such a unique play style. It's really not like any other faction, which really makes them interesting and fun to play as in the mid to late game when you get these types of army stacks. Of course, you have now, like, say you got elite cav stables in Carthage or Thapsus, right? You got these war elephants. You want like 2 per army, right? Of course, you want to be spamming long shield cav as well. It's just a good unit. And then you get your prone infantry just to hold the line. I mean, this is just insane, right? You have your missile attack now in the elephants a bit. You're not going to be doing voodoo with these guys, right? This is just 72. It's you have too many troops here that it's going to need to be healed, so we don't want to do that. And it's going to be playing the waiting game, right? You're just going to be going up, maybe using your missile attack, flanking with your cav, right? Elephants now, more of like a all-in-one type of unit. They can go ahead and fight cav. They can, just fire a will with their archers. Like, you can really do whatever the hell you want with them, right? Just don't use them in siege battles with, within the city. Just break open the winning gates and you're good to go. But yeah, pretty fun to play in the late game, I think, with this army stack. It's just, war elephants are fun, man, and they just make it very different. Of course, the drawback here, we don't really have much of a missile attack other than these war elephants, right? So you have to rely on, that hammer and anvil type of strategy with your cavalry and your elephants. But this is a great frontline unit to really just occupy the infantry with. I mean, my lord, you can just put down the phalanx and you're chilling the whole battle, right? These guys will not get touched. right? And you can really just focus on the cav and the general with your elephants, right? So yeah, that's a late game unit roster here in battle for Carthage. Alrighty, folks, so this is the pace you can kind of shoot for with Carthage here. This is about, 16 years later, so about 32 turns in at this point. You can clearly see all of Italy is absolutely conquered and already kind of Carthaginian culture for most of these cities, right? You can really occupy most because it's so early on, right? I mean, Rome is just an absolute recruitment center hub as well. Capua's, recruiting along Shield Cav. You're kind of seeing the makings of like what I was kind of talking about before with the long Shield Cav 20 infantry combo. You still have some slingers left over from the early game, and you can see as well we're getting Greece very quickly here. Athens, Corinth, and Sparta will all fall in the next couple turns. We have an insane navy at this point as well. It's just dominating the Mediterranean. We have full control over what we want to do here in terms of transporting armies and blockades. And Carthage is just, kind of getting that late game army that I was referring to, right? That's those war elephants with the long shield cav, so a lot of generals are ready to go, conquer some shit. And you can kind of see as well, we did just take out Numidia with like kind of leftover bullshit. And yeah, they already kind of went back to Carthage. It's not really hard to just bring like maybe 6 or 7 units to help out and kill Numidia. They don't have really a strong unit roster that they're going to try to kill you with. I mean, they have a lot of archers, but in single player, archers are a pretty bad unit actually to have for the AI. It's very easily killable with the human player. They don't really protect the archers very well. And you can kind of see as well, Spain is taken over, as well as Gaul. You literally just do heroic victory after heroic victory over here with these types of armies of just generals, round shield cav, right? That's kind of just the name of the game here. And we even got like Terror over here. We got our faction leader, who's just an absolute beast at this point. Because, like I said, remember, make this guy the faction heir early on, so he's going to become the faction leader pretty quickly. Because your faction leader, as Carthage, is already like 64 years old or something, right? He's going to die pretty quick. And this guy's just going around and just destroying any Gaul army, right? With all of this round shield cav, right? So, yeah. Pretty insane stats. This guy's only 37, right? And look at all these traits that he has, right? Pretty insane. But yeah, you really only need like those like unit roster units I was talking about to go over to the east, right? You don't really need them against like Britannia or Germania or Gaul, right? They have pretty basic armies you can kill with just cav, right? But yeah, this is a really good campaign, of course. Check it out on my channel. It's a pretty good one, especially in the early game there. Figure out how to navigate Carthage to start off. And yeah, that's going to really do it for this Carthaginian guide. Hope you guys enjoyed it here. Looking to do more in the future, of course, as well as keep on posting those campaign contents. I know you guys have enjoyed them in the past. So yeah, that's going to do it. But as always, guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't like, don't subscribe. And I'll see you guys for the next one. Later.